Today we are proceeding to our next topic, that is some terms related to flowers. So here in the view I am giving you the synopsis. So what we have to deal with today. So first, on the basis of symmetry, how we can divide the flower. So on the basis of symmetry, it is of two types, actinomorphic and zygomorphic. So on the basis of symmetry, it is of two type, basic two type. On the basis of symmetry, it is of two type. First will be actinomorphic and second will be zygomorphic. I will go in detail afterwards. First I have to show you about the terms which are used, and after that I am going to explain you about the terms, different types of terms from the books. So first, on the basis of symmetry, it is of two type, actinomorphic and the zygomorphic. And second, on the absence or presence of stamen and carpel. As we know, stamen and carpel, stamen are the male reproductive organ and carpel is a female reproductive organ. So on the basis of stamen and carpel, it has been divided into following these types. So first, it would be a complete or incomplete flower. Secondly, it should be bisexual, unisexual, staminate, pistillate, neuter, or it will be monothecous or diathecous. So now we will going to see first what is actinomorphic, zygomorphic, and after that we will going to deal about all the terms. So first, as you see here, you can see I am giving a close look of the book so that you can, if you don't have book right now, so you can learn from this also. So first will be the actinomorphic flower, the flower that can be divided into two equal half. If you are going to see the diagram from any vertical plane, to be noted, it is from any vertical section. If you are going to cut from this, if you are going to cut from this, if you are going to cut from this, from any of the vertical plane, if you are going to cut the flower like this or like this, we will going to have a equal half. That is the actinomorphic flower. That means in a simple language you can say that actinomorphic are flower which can be divided into two equal half from any of the section, vertical section. Example, mustard. The mustard flower is the best example of this actinomorphic flower. Second, when we come, it is a zygomorphic flower. Flower that can be divided into two equal half from any of the one vertical plane. That means from any of the one plane. See, this is an example of zygomorphic flower. You can see the flower over here. So P, in Hindi we call it matar. So when we will going to cut the flower from any of the one particular plane, any of the one vertical plane, it can be divided into two equal half. So we can't say that by any vertical plane we will going to divide the flower into two equal half by only one vertical plane. So this is the main difference, any and one. Zygomorphic, that means one vertical plane, and actinomorphic, that is any vertical plane. Next we will going to come to the next topic, that is complete flower, which has all the four whorls. Yesterday I have discussed you about the whorls, that means calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. If any of the flower will going to have its all the four whorls, then it is said to be complete flower. And if any of the flower will going to have any of the whorl missing, either calyx, either corolla, either androecium, either gynoecium, then it is known to be incomplete flower. Second, bisexual. Yesterday I have shown you one of the flower and I have told you that this is a bisexual flower. That means it contains both the stamen as well as carpel in it. So that is known as the bisexual flower. What is unisexual flower? Has either stamen or carpel. If it has either stamen or either carpel, that means the uni word is used for one, and as you know, bi word is used for two. So if both stamen and carpel will going to present, that means two, it is bisexual, and uni, that means one, only either stamen or either carpel will going to present in that. I hope it is clear to you. So we will go a little faster today. Next, as I know, if in any of the flower only stamen will going to present, it is said to be staminate. If only carpel is going to present, it is known as pistillate. Again I am telling you, stamen is a male reproductive organ and carpel is a female reproductive organ. If stamen only is present, that is staminate, and if carpel is going to present, it is known as the pistillate. Neuter, very important. This is a very important question, as the definition is always coming in the exam. What is neuter flower? So when both the stamen and carpel are absent, it is known as the neuter flower. Neuter flower, very important. Both stamen and carpel are going to be absent in that. Secondly, we will going to come to the monoecious plant, dioecious plant. Monoecious, see, it bears both male and female flower on the same plant. That means we cannot say it a bisexual flower, because bisexual is a flower in which male and female flower will going to present at the same flower. Here, as you see, maize is an example of that. Both male and female flower will going to present at the same plant but at the different position. That is a very important definition of a monoecious. Let me explain you once again. Monoecious. Monoecious. Monoecious, it is a flower in which male and female flower, point to be noted over here, male and female both will be a different flower. Male will be different flower, female will be different flower, but both will going to present in a same plant. Example, that is maize. Have you seen maize? If you are going to see the structure of maize, here you can see the male flower present over here, and in some place you can see the female flower lying over there. So that is a male inflorescence, and at some point you can see the female flower is present. So this is a male inflorescence, this is a female inflorescence. Both are present at the different level. Male reproductive organ is present at the upside and female reproductive organ are present at the lower side. But both the male and the female different flowers are present on the same plant. That type of plant will be known as the monoecious one. Next, we go to the dioecious one. Dioecious is a unisexual plant. Bear either male or female flower. That means it's a unisexual plant. You can say that. That means it is a two different plant. In one of the plant there will be a male flower, in another plant there will be a female flower. So this is a plant. The plant having both the male and female flower. In one plant you have both male and female flower, and this is a kind of plant which is, some of the plant will be male bearing the male flower and some of the plant will be bearing the female flower. So example, papaya. It is the best example of papaya. Some of the papaya are of male plant which does not give fruits, and some of the papaya which give fruits is a female flower, female plant. That means they were giving to it. Certain plants like mango and cashew nut have neuter, bisexual, unisexual flower on the same tree. You can see, it is very important to note that, and it can come in the competition exams also. Mango and cashew. These two are the plant in which all the different kinds of flower. You can see the neuter flower also. You can see in some plant you can see the bisexual flower also. In some plant you can see the unisexual flower. They all can be in the same tree. Or you can say that one plant can bear all the different types of flower. Neuter flower also, bisexual flower also, unisexual flower also. So next we will going to go to the position of the floral leaves on thalamus. And you can see this is the thalamus portion in which all the whorls are attached. You can see the calyx also, you can see the corolla also, you can see the female reproductive organ, and you can see the male reproductive organ also. All are placing over this. This is a base, and all the things are getting arise from this part. So that is the thalamus part of a plant. So by the position of floral leaf, that means all the whorls, you can say that whorls, floral leaves or whorls. How they are arranged in the thalamus on the basis of we have divided the flower into three main categories: hypogynous, perigynous and epigynous. So hypo, ovary occupies, you don't have to learn the whole thing, just learn that when the ovary occupies the highest position. See, ovary is at the highest position, perigynous it should be in the middle, and epigynous at the lower portion. So this is the main. Ovary occupies the highest position, ovary is half inferior, and epigynous ovary is inferior. Half inferior, inferior. So these are the three main. Hypogynous, when the ovary occupies the highest position. Perigynous, when the ovary is half inferior, that means it will be in the middle. Half the things will be here, thalamus will be below, and they will be in the middle portion, the ovary, half inferior. And in this, the ovary occupies the lowest position, that is, ovary is said to be in inferior. So example is given over there. Hypogynous example is mustard, perigynous example will be rose, and epigynous example will be cucumber, apple, etc. See, in learning bio, you should be very careful in writing the examples. If you are going to give the example, and if you are going to write the heading, and if you are going to make the diagrams also, the answer will going to look very attractive. And as you know, in class 12th you will going to have the question paper in which you have to draw the diagrams, and the diagram based questions are also coming. So you should be very careful. If a question needs a diagram, you should make the diagram, and if example is given over there, you should write the example. So you don't have to write the lots of example over there, you should write one example also, and you can carry on. See, after that we will move to the next one, terms related to various floral part. Then will be calyx. Calyx will be of two type, gamosepalous and polysepalous. Gamosepalous, that means sepal will be free. As we know that this is a this is a sepals. Yesterday also I have told you, when the sepals are in a collected form, it is known as the calyx. So when the sepal are fused together, you can see the diagram also. You can see the first gamosepalous, all the sepals are attached with each other. There is no freeness over here. That means all the calyx, all the sepals are tightly attached with each other. So this is a gamosepalous part, and when the sepal will be free, it is known as the polysepalous. In this next one, you can see the corolla, same. Gamopetalous and polypetalous, when the petals will be tightly attached with each other, then will be gamo, and when they will be free, they are known as the polypetalous. Perianth. It is a very important definition. Perianth, when sepals and petal look alike. That means you can't differentiate between which is the sepal and which is the petal. As we know that sepal are green color and petal are very brightly colored. But if such condition will going to happen, you can't differentiate between sepal and petals. Both can be green and both can be colorful in some of the plant. So we can't differentiate between sepals and petals. So they both look alike. This is called the perianth. When we can't differentiate between sepals and petals, they both will going to look alike. They will known as the perianth. Same. Gamotepalous. So very important to note that perianth is also known as tepals. As a calyx is known as sepals, corolla is known as petals. So perianth is known as tepals. So gamotepalous and polytepalous. That means when the tepals are free, it is known as the gamotepalous, and when tepals are see, when here it is wrong given over here, when tepals are fused, here you can add fused, it is known as gamopetalous, and when the tepals are free, it is known as the polypetalous.